Hey, everybody. Welcome. Let me turn this music off. Hello. Welcome to True Crime Tuesday with your host, me, Feminine and Fierce. Thank you guys so much for joining. I hope that you're having a great week so far. As you guys know, we always start it out with a couple games. If you're over on Facebook, once these games end, we will be ending the Facebook live stream. So make your way over here. All you have to do is go out of the live that you're in and scroll all the way up. There's a link right there for you. You can click that picture and it says True Crime Tuesday. It's actually at the top. It says live now, and then it says, it has the picture and it says that we're live. So click that. Come on over. This is true crime, so there's really only two rules. Those two rules are no spoilers and no malarkey. We don't discuss malarkey here. This is all about true crime cases. Sometimes I'll cover some different types of true crime cases, but for the most part, just straightforward. Um, as always, trigger warning, trigger warning, trigger warning. Um, in my opinion, all true crime cases that deal with someone losing their life are trigger warnings, some worse than others, depending on the person. Hey, Gloria, OG, one of my OGs. Hey. Um, I'm on the bench, Coach Connie. The games are good, but I suck. Yeah, the games are good. We all some of us are good at it, but when you got me up here picking it, we're not the best. But yeah, so let's start our games out. We always do 2 rounds of the mugshot game. Everyone that you see here is innocent until proven guilty. It's real easy to play. All we do is we have 5 people that were arrested. We have 5 crimes they may have committed. We have to match each one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You say number 1, I think committed robbery, and then I'll put it there. Whoever I see in the comments is who I'll pick. It's at random. Just remember your answers because you may have got them all, and we only got one. Depending on who I see in the crowd. So go ahead. We got oh, grandma, is that highlights? Is that tips? She got white tips on her hair. We got robbery, attempted red rum, battery on a police officer, DUI, and loitering or prowling. So who do we think did the crimes? Let me know. You could say number 1 is DUI, number 5 is loitering. Whatever you think, and I'll choose randomly. So let me know, you guys. Welcome in, welcome in. If you're on Kick, hey Kick. Also, if you're watching on the replay, hashtag replay. Mermaid, hashtag replay, and please hype up the videos. You can only hype up the lives on replay, but you can also hype up the videos. You only get 3 hypes per week, and I'd be appreciative if I got at least one of them. All right, here we go. 1 DUI, 2 prowl. All right, let's see here. My mouse must be going down, going dead. What was it? Uh, I don't. 2 is prowl. Okay. 2 I got for the prowling. 1 was DUI. All right, we got 3, 4, and 5 left, and 3 of them left. Let's see. Oh, some people think number 3. All right, battery number 3. Oh, you think Granny got battery on the police officer? Who got attempted red rum? Who got Ooh, number 5 attempted red rum, and then that leaves number 4 for robbery. Let's see how well we did. Let's see what we got. Oh, we got 3 out of 5, y'all. Look at that. All right, number 1, Granny was driving under the influence. Number 2 was definitely the loitering and prowling. Ooh, number 3 did not have battery on a police officer. She was attempted red rum. We got robbery right, and then the last one was battery on a police officer. So all we did was just flip the granny and the young girl. If we'd have flipped them, we'd have had all 5. Look at that. And I feel like attempted red rum and battery on a police officer, I feel like it's around the same type of crime. So we did pretty good on that one, guys. Look at us. Okay, we did this one. So let me go up here and find us one. Yeah, we did pretty good. 3 out of 5. I'll take it. I'll take that one. Did we do this one? Yeah, we did. Okay, hold on. Let me do what I usually do. Let's see. We go to the last page and then work our way back. Do this one. Oh, this one's from 2009. All right, we got. Oh, that guy in the middle kind of looks like a Timu version of Justin Bieber. All right, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I think this because you sometimes the criminals, the suspected criminals, will all have something in common, and I think this one is facial expressions. Um, so we have disturbing the peace, delivery of coquiana, robbery with a deadly weapon, drunk driving, and assault. So what do you guys think? Who do you think did what? So we got all these different facial looks. Tati and Maybay should be on there with their facial. You guys know they, especially Tati. Um, she's got the different facial things down. All right. Oh, we got a couple different ones. We got 2 is distribution or disturbing the peace. All right, 2 is disturbing the peace. And then we've got 1 for delivery. All right, we got drunk driving, assault, and deadly weapon. 4 is Kokiana. Oh, y'all think 4 is Kokiana. 4 is assault. We'll take that. All right, 4 is assault. Remember, though, that a lot of y'all thought 4 was Kokiana. We got drunk driving and robbery. Oh, we already got number 2 for 1. T Little. Hey, hey, Dawn. 3 is drunk driving, which leaves 5 is robbery. Let's see what we got. Oh, we only got 1, and it was the delivery of Kokiana. All right, so number 1, delivery. Number 2, robbery, deadly weapon. Number 3, assault. Number 4, disturbing the peace. And number 5, drunk driving. So a little bit of shock again. These people are innocent until proven guilty. All right, that's the game. Time is up. Facebook, we're going to say goodbye to you. We are going to say goodbye and we're going to get into these stories or to these cases, as I should say. All right, let's see here. Which one do I want to go to first? Let's go here. All right. Oh, man, that's going to suck. Okay, hold on. I can pull this up. All right. Let's dig into the first one. So I know there's so many cases lately. Um, like I said, I was not prepared. I was actually going to cancel tonight's true crime because I thought the interview was going to be either 8 or 9. Because 8 o'clock Maybay's time is 9 o'clock my time. So I was like, well, shit, if they start the interview at 8, like it's going to be true crime. So I was actually going to cancel, but I ended up getting off the internet or getting off my live around 6. So I was like, let me just throw some videos out there and get it done.
3 bodies were found in Houston's bayous last week, and the discoveries have reignited talks of a serial killer in Houston. Many of you have seen the videos on social media, and comments on our social media and website have been flooded with theories. But Harris County District Attorney Jean Tier says the claims are baseless. Gage Golding has the interview you'll see only on 2 tonight.
There is nothing to indicate that anyone is operating as a serial killer.
That's something that a lot of people in Houston are starting to question. Just last week, 3 more people were found dead in the city's bayous. That's 34 this year alone. So the question is, does Houston have a serial killer? Here's Harris County District Attorney Sean Tier.
There is not a serial killer that is routinely dumping bodies in the bayou, no. And let's be honest, our culture is really into true crime and things like that. And when you say the word serial killer, people get excited.
And he's not wrong. A simple scroll on social media and you'll find comment after comment. And you don't have to walk far here along the bayou to find somebody talking about it.
I believe that there's some serial killers in Houston, yes. With 2 million people here, everybody's not sane.
Do you think it's a sexier plot line for TikTok?
That's a good question. I mean, I think it's probably a little bit of both.
Perspective is important for the story. For instance, last year, there were 35 bodies found in bayous. That's 1 more than this year. And most of the bodies, the district attorney says, are found near homeless encampments, which opens up a whole different problem.
I think that if we were more intentional and better at helping our unhoused population find places to live and supporting them, we would likely see a drop in the numbers.
And there's not to say there aren't other ways people have died in bayous. For example, There are cases where people have fallen in the water and haven't been able to get out. And yes, there are instances where crime is involved, where people are killed and then somehow put in the bayous.
There is nothing, and I want to be crystal clear, to indicate that there is someone operating here as a serial killer.
There is an autopsy done on every single body that is pulled from a bayou. Sometimes that can come back as undetermined. That doesn't mean the investigation is over. That can take years in some cases. I did ask the mayor and the chief of Houston Police for comment on this story. Only the mayor got back to me saying that the police department does routinely patrol the more than 2,500 miles of bayous they have here in the city. In downtown Houston, Gage Golding, KPRC2.
Okay, so we have now heard, because I've covered a little bit of this before, we have now heard the mayor and we have now heard the Harris County DA. Both say, no, this is not a serial killer. And a lot of people think, oh, well, it's got to be a cover up. Something's got to be done. Something's going on. All right, so let's do this next video because guess what? Another body was found today. Just today.
At about 2 o'clock this evening, our downtown patrol officers were dispatched to Buffalo Bayou under Main Street. What we know right now is there was a cleanup crew down here doing maintenance in the park area along Buffalo Bayou. They saw what appears to be the body of an adult male in Buffalo Bayou. They requested the police respond to the location. Police department, fire department, and our dive team responded to the location. And we do have a body in the bayou. It appears to be an adult male. We won't know for that for sure until the medical examiner gets here and we get the body removed from the bayou. As always in these cases, we have our homicide investigators here. They'll be conducting a follow-up investigation. Crime scene units here. The medical examiner will come here. The medical examiner will do an autopsy to determine the cause of death. And after we get that, then we'll know how to continue on the investigation. So that's pretty much all the information we have right now. Is just that at about 2 o'clock, our officers were dispatched here. They found that what we believe to be the About 2 o'clock, our officers were dispatched here. We found what we believe to be the body of an adult male that is deceased in the bayou. Any questions?
30 plus bodies in 2025.
My job is to give information on active scenes. If there's any long-term investigations and that type of stuff, I'm going to refer you to the chief or the PIO.
Should people be concerned?
There again, I'm going to give you information on the scene that we have right now. I'm not going to get into long-term investigations.
Does it look like the body has been in there for a long time, or is this seem fresh in terms?
Doesn't seem to have been in there very long, but I'm not an expert on that. The medical examiner will have to determine that.
And can you give us any identifying features? Were they clothed? Were they wearing a certain color clothing or any?
The body is clothed. Looks like a gray jacket or something. That's pretty much.
Lieutenant Krausen, how far was the person who witnessed who spotted this person in the water?
It's my understanding the cleanup guy was sweeping the bulkhead here and saw the body.
Okay.
So.
Anyone? We'll take one more.
There was two found a couple weeks ago, Brett.
For this incident specific, and I know it's very early on, in the city and the police department and the mayor have all been very clear that there's not necessarily a killer on the list or anything like that. At this point, are you able to rule that out? This doesn't look like any foul play?
The medical examiner, there again, the medical examiner will have to do an autopsy to determine the cause of death. From just looking over the side, I don't see any obvious signs of foul play, but there again, that's for a medical professional to determine.
And real quick.
So yes, just like Tanya put in the chat, there have been, like I was saying, there have been around 200, a little bit over 200 bodies found in the bayou since 2017. That's a lot of bodies, and of course, some of them. Hold on. Of course, some of them probably have no foul play, but I think a lot of them do. All right, let me see this. But yeah, there was 2 bodies that were found 2 weeks ago. I think was the other 2. Let's see. Yeah, 200 bodies. There's a guy that did a video on it, fish and trips and this small town. Let's watch this. 8 years, 200 bodies. There's a killer. They better name that killer before it gets worse. Yeah, they're all saying. But remember what happened with the Gilgo Beach murders? They swore it wasn't a serial killer, and it ended up coming out that the reason that is that they were one was saying like they had different theories on it is because there was some kind of internal shit going on between like one office and another office. And so they basically covered it up for a while because of that. Like because they didn't want to agree with each other or some shit. Shit's
More
weird.
bodies found in Houston bayous spark fresh rumors of a serial killer in the city. 3 bodies were found washed up near Houston bayous last week, bringing the total amount of bodies found in 2025 to at least 34.
That was December. So I think the last one was found December 22nd.
The city's medical examiner's office recorded 35 bodies pulled from bayous in 2024, amounting to more than 200 people found dead since 2017. At least 3 cases have been determined as homicides. Police reportedly arrested 2 suspects with a remaining case still open. Crime experts say this doesn't mean one person is running around on a murderous rampage. Local residents and social media users, however, think otherwise.
The math ain't mathing. I think there's a serial killer.
I'm assuming there must be someone out there, no? Because it's ridiculous that so many people are dying in the bayou.
Houston contains over 2,500 miles of bayous and waterways. Authorities note the bayous where most of the bodies have been found are historically associated with criminal activity, overdoses, suicides, and accidental drownings. Houston's mayor says many homeless people often end up in the waterways when they pass away, an issue also pointed out by Harris County's top prosecutor.
There is nothing to indicate that anyone is operating as a serial killer. I think that if we were more intentional and better at helping our unhoused population find places to live and supporting them, we would likely see a drop in the numbers.
The Houston police chief emphasizes investigators haven't found a pattern suggesting a link between the deaths, adding rumors of a serial killer is stirring fear and anxiety among local communities. Taylor Tinsley, One America News.
For all our viewers asking where One America...
So, like I said, there are a lot of, especially the locals that are there. I think most of them, at least from the interviews that I've seen, and I'm sure there's some people that are local to Houston in this area, but for the most part, the people that I have seen are all saying like they feel that they're covering it up, that there's no way that this is possible. And, of course, they're pushing back saying, because it is men and women, like they can't find a pattern. Like, with a lot of serial killers, you'll see that it's like petite, small blondes, or, it's all sexual workers, or there's some kind of pattern to it. And this has not had, I guess, a certain pattern to it. So that's one of the reasons. All right, let's go to this. Sorry, I have to switch accounts in the middle so that I can not get so that I don't get commercials. Live in San Diego and we don't have bodies just floating up to the shoreline, right? Well, they said at least 3 of them were confirmed homicides. Like I said, I don't think obviously all of them weren't considered. They're basically saying that a lot of them were just homeless people that happened to perish. Some of them they think are probably overdoses. So there's different reasons. But yeah, 3 have been confirmed. And then there was like they said, a suspect was arrested and another 2, I believe.
It began with the grisly murders that have rocked a normally quiet community in New Jersey. 3 people, a woman and her parents, killed, police say, by her own adult son, who lived in the family's home in Piscataway.
And when officers confronted the man, they say that he refused to put down his weapon, a machete, and officers opened fire.
New Jersey reporter Tony Yates live at the scene where police are still trying to determine a motive for all this. Tony?
Yeah, Sandra and Mike, the mayor of Piscataway said there is no history of domestic violence calls coming from this home. We spoke to neighbors today. One neighbor told us that the mother was jolly. He said that he heard nothing but happiness coming from his neighbors.
I spoke to the mother as late back as October. For a brief moment, and my last thing with her, I gave her a hug and she said we should get together, and that was the last time I saw her.
Neighbor Keith Heron says before yesterday, from the looks of it all on the outside, the family at 831 River Road seemed like a happy family with at least one adult son living at the home.
The son was always, when the son is back, always in the backyard playing music. And at one point I was about to attempt to ask, "Ma'am, I love your music," but I never got the chance because, that was it. It's just a unfortunate tragedy.
What sparked that tragedy is still a mystery. Police received a 911 call from the father. When they arrived, they were almost immediately met by the suspect, the couple's son, waving what's been described as a machete at them. According to authorities, Piscataway officers ordered the man to drop the weapon. He did not. They repeated their command, threatening to stop him with a taser. They say officers used it, but it did nothing to slow the suspect down or compel him to drop the machete, so they fatally shot him.
They followed every guideline and gave every available opportunity for the perpetrator and suspect to surrender, and obviously did not want to do that. And given the fact that the individual was carrying a machete and has already committed 3 murders inside, you have to think about the officers' health and well-being too.
Officers then entered the home and discovered the bodies of the man's mother and his grandparents. Police have not said how they were killed, and as far as we know, only one person in the house at the time survived, the suspect's father, who made that 911 call, and likely the one remaining person with firsthand knowledge of what was happening inside that home that led up to this tragedy.
There's a husband that's about to bury a wife, parents, and a son.
Now, the Attorney General's office is leading this investigation because it did involve a police shooting. The AG's office expected to release more information about what went on here as soon as this evening. For now, we're live here in Piscataway, New Jersey. Tony Gates, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Can you imagine showing up to the scene and a guy's got a machete and he's swinging it around, and then you realize that he has taken out his family members? Oh my goodness. I can't imagine that. All right, let's see here. Yeah, that was Jersey. Okay. Sorry, just loading up the next video. I hope you guys are enjoying this episode. I'm trying to find this. Okay, no. Oh, I did want to show you guys this video because I hope that people are more careful and do some research on people, especially nowadays. There are too many scammers out there, people who you would think aren't scammers. Please do your research, especially if you're finding someone. Yeah, madams. First response. I would see my thing. I wanted to be like a paramedic or an EMT because I wanted to go to like crash sites and just, you guys know I'm nosy. Plus, I want to help people. So I was like, oh, I want to do like, be on scene at accidents and all this stuff. They don't pay them enough for what they go through and what they endure and the trauma and PTSD and all of that. I think here they pay paramedics, not an EMT, but a paramedic. They pay them like 15 bucks an hour. And money's not everything, but as much therapy as you need with a job like that, I think that needs to be put in the pay, which obviously your insurance, but I feel like it needs to be added to the pay as if you were paying out of pocket. All right, check this out.
Hey guys, I'm Chris.
And I'm Raquel. They're a married Texas couple who pitched clients immaculate homes like this. You get to pick a contemporary floor plan that comes with all the latest features. Using social media to help promote their business.
And you get to move in knowing that you don't have to make any repairs.
But instead, left some clients with this.
And it won't turn off.
Chris and Raquel Judge pleading guilty to defrauding more than 40 customers out of nearly $5 million worth of unfinished projects.
I was planning on kind of growing into this house.
Kristen Newman telling our affiliate WFAA she hired the young couple to build her dream home. Chris Judge claimed to be an architect, but prosecutors say he wasn't.
He just walked off. He just stopped talking to us. It became a nightmare for sure.
Officials say the couple offered custom architecture, construction, and interior design services at below market rates. They started construction projects and accepted multiple installment payments from victims, but never completed those projects.
This isn't just a bad business decision. This is he chose to lie. He chose to steal.
This is the front.
Lane Simmons and his wife paid them about $200,000 to remodel their home.
They really pitched themselves as like this Chip and Joanna Gaines type of vibe. My house, everything that they did is wrong. We had a family friend that's also a contractor come over and look over everything, and he's like, man, there's a lot of this is unsafe. This is like the worst job I've probably ever seen.
Prosecutors say the guilty couple used some of their nearly $5 million swindle on personal mortgage payments and plastic surgery. Christopher and Raquel Judge are now facing judgment of their own. He faces up to 20 years in prison and she could get 5. Experts say there are some warning signs that you could be getting ripped off. If they require cash or payment in full before they even start the job, or the price is much lower than other contractors, those are usually pretty big red flags, guys.
Yeah, sometimes too good to be true. It surely is.
Can you imagine? And the way that they did it, social media. Social media, because they had a following, they built up a following, and then, of course, word of mouth, like their content and stuff, and that's where they were able to get most of their victims. Um, and of course, they made it look great. They're showing these beautiful homes that they've allegedly remodeled and renovated, and people were like, "Oh my God, I want that." But $5 million, and they used it to pay their mortgage and plastic surgery. Ugh, 5 million. That's insane to me. All right, let's go. On this. All right, let's go here. Okay. This case is still unsolved and quite an odd case to me, just the details of it. So let's get into this.
The 2 young kids were inside when this happened.
Oh,
This
wait,
is developing along North 4th Street near the. And breaking right now, 2 people are dead after a shooting at a home in Wineland Park. We just learned in the last 20 minutes that 2 young kids were inside when this happened. This is developing along North 4th Street near the intersection of East 8th Avenue. Our Nick Veland is there. And Nick, what else have you learned?
Yeah, Kurt, well, like you mentioned, police are telling us that 2 adults are shot and killed inside this house, and 2 kids were inside at the time. They are unharmed. We're going to show you exactly what this scene is looking like at this moment. But police say that they were called this morning just before 10 a.m. on a wellness check. When they were able to get inside, they found 2 people dead, at least 1 having multiple gunshot wounds, and this includes 1 male and 1 female. Now, police do not believe this was a murder-suicide, and like I said, there were also 2 kids inside the house when police arrived. They were unharmed, and they were helped by a therapy dog right away. Now, there are still a lot of unanswered questions as to what exactly happened, but we did ask police, should neighbors in the area be concerned?
2 individuals are deceased inside a residence from gunshot wounds. Like I said, I can't tell you right now if this is a random act of violence, if this is a directed act of violence, or if it's a murder-suicide. So unfortunately, yeah, I can't tell you if there's a suspect currently out right now. I don't have that information. So that's a lot of questions still out there. It's very early for us to try to answer those right now.
Police say this does not appear to be a murder-suicide. They also say there were no signs of forced entry and no gun has been found. Officers were called to the home for a welfare check, where they found the 2 bodies.
The caller stated they were concerned because they hadn't heard from their employee, didn't show up for work, and they were just concerned that maybe something was wrong with their employee.
Police also found 2 children inside the home, both under the age of 6 and both unharmed. People who knew the homeowners stopped by throughout the day.
Well, if they found no weapon in the home and the only people that were allegedly there were the children, I would think they could rule out Red Rum doing it to themselves. I'm trying to be careful with what I say, but you understand what if there's no weapon there, I would assume someone else did it. Come on now.
One person who did not want to go on camera described them as kind and said their heart breaks for the children. All of this unfolding in a dense residential neighborhood, leaving neighbors shocked.
My heart just goes out to them. That's terrible to hear that happen, especially so close.
They were in Columbus.
A little bit worrying, but
Columbus.
all I can think about is those kids.
Ethan Garcia, who lives just steps away, says he didn't hear or see anything unusual in the days leading up to police finding the 2 bodies.
I didn't hear anything at all. I was even outside last night at around 8:30, I'd say, and I didn't see or hear anything at all.
Police say this investigation will take time, but nearby security cameras may provide crucial evidence. Until then, neighbors say they're on edge.
Pretty concerned right now, a little worrying because, I do have a family at home and I want to make sure they're okay. Could be random. That's kind of my biggest fear.
The Athens Dental Depot opening at 8 a.m. The first call to Columbus police went out at 9:03.
This individual, Spencer, works with me, and he did not show up to work this morning, and we cannot get a hold of him or his family.
The owner of Athens Dental Depot knowing something was wrong.
Like, he is always on time, and he would contact us if there was any issues whatsoever. And I just don't know how else to say this. Like, we're very, very concerned because this is very out of character. And we can't get in touch with his wife, which is probably the more concerning thing.
At 9:22 a.m., an officer arrives at the home, reported no one answered. Several employees of Dr. Tepe continue driving to the house to check on him. At 9:57 a.m., a friend asked for police to return because he could hear children inside of the home. At 10:05 a.m., a frantic call to police saying he could see Spencer's body inside, laying next to a bed. Police soon returned, finding Spencer and his wife Monique dead and 2 children who were unharmed. New records released Wednesday reveal Spencer was shot multiple times. Monique was shot at least once in the chest. The Tepe family shared the couple's 2021 wedding video with ABC6 and Fox 28, showcasing one of the happiest days of their lives.
Mr. and Mrs. Tepe.
Exchanging vows inside of their North 4th Street home. They were just a month away from their 5-year anniversary. A small memorial starting outside of the home as investigators confirm 2 children were found unharmed inside. It is unclear just how long those children were inside of the home with their deceased parents. Those who worked with Spencer at the Athens Depot are remembering him. On Facebook, they posted about celebrating his birthday just weeks ago on December 9th. We also talked with Dr. Mark Valrose, who owns the practice. He tells me, quote, "We are deeply saddened by the sudden passing of our colleague and friend, Dr. Spencer Tepe. Our heartfelt condolences are with his family and loved ones during this difficult time. We appreciate the community's thoughts and prayers."
The Tepe story has gained national, even international attention. We've tried to talk directly with Columbus police, but they tell us they have nobody available to answer our questions on camera. Now, homicide detectives are asking for the public's help. 4 friends carrying flowers and a soccer ball, keeping the memorial alive outside the North 4th Street home, where Spencer and Monique Tepe were found brutally shot to death Tuesday. Their 2 young children found unharmed inside. Unlike Tuesday morning, the crime scene tape and police cars that were parked outside are now gone. But we did see police doing guard duty at 2 homes belonging to relatives several miles away. Those relatives didn't want to talk to us, and neither does Columbus Police, who told us, since this is an active investigation, we have no updates to provide at this time. Earlier this week, a CPD spokesman told us detectives were hoping the cameras around the Tepe's house and on the street would point them to a suspect. But now, days later, homicide detectives are asking for help. They need anyone who may have video, photographs, or digital evidence, including suspicious individuals or vehicles from Tuesday, December 30th, between midnight and 9 a.m. to reach out to them. And the request covers more than just the couple's block. It's a huge area that covers Summit Street, North Grant Avenue, East 7th, and East 11th Avenue. Officers found no obvious signs of forced entry, and no gun was found at the scene. The Tepe's children, ages 4 and 1, are now in the care of relatives.
We're getting a better look at who Spencer and Monique Tepe were. Their family sending us a lengthy statement. They called Spencer a devoted and proud father, a loving partner, and a friend to everyone he met. They say he was warm, intelligent, and endlessly welcoming. Spencer was an OSU graduate, member of the American Dental Association, and fluent in Spanish. Their family says he was deeply committed to serving others, giving back through big brothers, big sisters. Sports was also a big part of Spencer's life, being a huge fan of the Bengals and, of course, the Buckeyes. They go on to describe Monique as a loving, patient, and joyful mother whose warmth defined her. She had a background in childhood education. Monique was also a baker.
Mr. and Mrs. Tepe.
Their family shared this video from their wedding. They also say Spencer and Monique shared a beautiful, strong, and deeply happy relationship. They loved to travel. They were proud parents of their 2 children and their beloved golden doodle.
Spencer Tepe worked at the Athens Dental Depot. They put out a statement to their customers saying it is with heavy hearts that we share the sudden passing of our dear colleague and friend, Dr. Spencer Tepe, as well as his wife, Monique. He will be deeply missed by our team and the many patients he cared for over the years. Our thoughts and sincerest condolences are with their families and loved ones during this very difficult time.
The Columbus Police Department is now asking for your help in trying to solve the murder of Spencer and Monique Tepe. At the QR code just to the side of me, that is what they want you to scan.
Yes,
they want you to send over any digital evidence you may have. That means photos or videos that were taken on the morning of December 30th between midnight and 9 a.m. That was the morning police found the bodies of the murdered couple shot in their home. Co-workers of Spencer Tepe came to the house after he never showed up for work. Police found the couple's 2 young children crying inside. Their parents deceased. Nearly a week after the bodies were found, with no weapon at the scene or sign of forced entry, there is no suspect. On your screen is a map of the area. Police are hoping witnesses will come forward if they saw anything or anyone suspicious in the areas of Summit Street to Grand Avenue, between East 7th Avenue to East 11th Avenue. As the family grapples with the loss of the Tepes, they're asking for help as well, creating a GoFundMe to help family members provide for the 2 children the couple leaves behind.
A potential person of interest. As the investigation nears its 1-week mark, police potentially getting closer to pinpointing a suspect. Columbus police believe Spencer and Monique Tepe were murdered on the 2nd floor of their Wineland Park home between the hours of 2 and 5 a.m. the morning of December 30th. This video released Monday evening showing a man walking near the Tepes' home sometime within those 3 hours, with his hood up and his head down. This is the only video released to media of any kind of evidence that could lead detectives to a suspect.
I still see, these images of Spencer, pictures that people are sending me. It's like, he's not gone. There's no way he's gone. There's no way Monique's gone. Like that can't be possible.
Rob Misla says Spencer and Monique Tepe were 2 of the most admirable people in his life. Their family and the nation stunned as all eyes remain on the investigation.
And she just, started hyperventilating, and it took a minute to figure out, what was happening. And then from there, it was just like kind of an instant realization that all of our entire lives are never going to be the same again.
The Tepes would have celebrated their 5-year wedding anniversary in just a few weeks. Misla says their children, 4 and 1, are in good care of family, along with their family dog.
How do you tell a 4-year-old that, she's never going to see her parents again? It's just awful, but we've been giving them all of our love.
Misla describing Monique as warm, charming, and strong. Spencer known as calm, steady, and kind. With funeral arrangements in the works, investigators following the case closely. No interview was made available to ABC6 on Monday.
We'd rather have it done right instead of fast, and we understand that these kind of things is a process, and there's, a lot of moving parts and pieces.
A loving couple, 2 young children left behind with plenty of unanswered questions. And what is your message to
the person behind this?
This person didn't just take 2 lives, right? They took a son and a daughter, a brother and a sister, an aunt and an uncle, cousins. And they obviously took 2 beautiful souls who are just lovely parents.
Now, a major question also still remains tonight. Why would someone do this? If you or anyone you know might have information to help investigators, you can stay anonymous. Reach out to Crime Stoppers at 614-461-TIPS or Columbus Police. For now, on your side, Aaron Simonek, ABC 6 News.
Thank you, Aaron. And we're posting the video online. You can look at it on the...
Okay. It's just such a heartbreaking story. Oh, I mean, it's awful that the parents, obviously, that they did that to the parents. I am glad that they did not hurt the children, but sadly, those children will have to, they'll have to be raised without their parents, without both their parents, and have such a trauma surrounding their lives forever. And I hope somebody said that, hold on. Someone said they hope the 4-year-old doesn't remember. I hope the 4-year-old doesn't remember for sure. Yes, they haven't solved it. They have no idea. There was no forced entry, no weapon there. They do have that guy walking on surveillance, but they have no idea who did this or anything. I mean, they just don't know. So they're investigating it. Let's see here.
Serious Happy New Year. Have family members completely mystified because something awful happened to a happy young couple. They were savagely shot to death in their own home with their little kids still inside.
Was it the 30th?
This man or woman was captured by a doorbell cam in the early morning hours of Tuesday morning, December 30th.
Yeah, 30th.
That's when someone murdered Spencer and Monique Tepe. It happened in the middle of the night. Their 2 little children, aged 4 and 1, were left to fend for themselves with their dead parents' bodies nearby. Those kids are now in the care of relatives. Spencer was a respected dentist, and police ruled out murder-suicide like almost immediately. There was no way that was what had happened in that house.
Well, I think
so far the gun.
I think there was a way that they could see the second floor. I could be wrong, but I would assume that if not, that would be a huge red flag.
Remains a mystery. Police did not find it.
I think there was
and the weird thing is as well, they saw no evidence of a break-in, right? No forced entry, no smashing around.
Nothing.
The murders actually were discovered by a friend. A friend who got so concerned when Spencer didn't show up for work. It was not like him. He was so reliable that within minutes of him not showing up, the calls were going into 911. So one of these friends went by the Tepe's house, and that is when all hell broke
you couldn't
loose.
see him. All you could see was
the
a hoodie.
Our friend wasn't answering his phone. We just did a run of check. We just came here, and he appears dead.
Okay.
There's blood. He's laying next to his bed, off of his bed, and there's blood. I can't get closer to see more than that.
Okay, so you can tell he's obviously not breathing or anything.
Yeah.
Is it like kind of like does he look like?
It's definitely puddled. I can't look.
Okay, all right, I understand.
Earlier on my News Nation show, I talked to Rob Misla. He is Spencer Tepe's brother-in-law. He's married to Spencer's sister. And I asked him specifically, among other things, about those kids and what those kids might have witnessed while they were still inside the home with the killer and then afterwards with the bodies. Yeah. I'm going to play you our conversation in just a second. But first, I just want to thank you so much for supporting this podcast. It is going to be yours. It's the peace of mind knowing that every monitoring agents can actually stop crying up for professional.
I know just as much as the next person. I was told by a reporter about 10 minutes before this got posted that it was released by the police department. And, when I first saw it, yeah, I do think, suspicious looking person there. It also very well could be, somebody walking home drunk from a bar. But it's evidence nonetheless that hasn't been released until now, and it's good that they're kind of progressing through this.
And this is right between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m., which is the window they say they believe the shootings happened. Rob, do you or your family members have any idea who might have been capable of doing this? Did your family have any enemies? Did Spencer and Monique have any enemies at all that are known?
They probably woke up though and found him, because they said that
the
reason they got the cops to come, the cops to go in, is because they said they called the cops back and was like, "Hey, we hear the baby's crying," and plus obviously he saw the blood.
Not that I can speak on or know of. I know that they've had this massive community around him that they were just so well liked and admired by everyone. You can see in this picture. That's kind of defines them. They were always smiling. They were always laughing. So it's really just unbelievable and shocking to all of us when we found out. I still, a week later, still doesn't feel real. I can't believe I'm here talking about this. So.
That is
it doesn't make any sense at all.
But they didn't steal anything.
What do you know about the little kid?
Apparently, unless this has got something to do with maybe a business deal, life insurance, and then they were just giving the killer maybe the wedding video so they could study what they look like. But that is very interesting if their wedding video started getting more views before this happened. I can understand if it got more now. But before is interesting.
Spencer and Mo had two little ones. I think one is 1 year old, the other one is 4. Do you have any idea what they saw, what they experienced in that home?
What do you mean, Colette? It wasn't oh man, did I not switch accounts? My bad. It wasn't a red rum unaliving. Hold on.
Any evidence, but we've had them with us for the past couple of days. They're with some other relatives at the moment, and they were just as happy.
At the ages of 1 and 4, there's not much. They probably would think they couldn't identify them. I think unless you're just, in my opinion, unless they're just cold-hearted and just like to do it, as long as they can't identify what's a 1 and 4-year-old, unless they know them. Now, see, that would make me think maybe they didn't know them, because a 4-year-old I feel like would be able to know who they were. I don't know, but I think the kids would have been sleeping anyway. If it was between 2 and 5 a.m., the kids would have been asleep. So I don't know.
Unfortunately unaware as they ever could be, but they're in loving hands, and even more people are coming by their side to make sure that they're taken care of.
I think this is going to be
but yeah, this
is going to be one of those cases that, unless it just goes cold, which I pray it doesn't, I feel like it's going to be somebody where we're going to be like, what?
And Rob, that's huge what you just said. It sounds to me like they did not see the carnage. This isn't going to be a lifelong memory for them. Were they spared even the visuals of what happened?
How could they have not seen it if they woke up? Think about it. Unless they were in but a 4-year-old you would think would get up and go look for mommy. A 1-year-old might be in a crib where they can't get out or something, but I would think the 4-year-old's mobile.
As far as I know, I don't think that they were.
But the whole thing is, they said the babies, they could hear them crying before they got into because they didn't get in until around 10 a.m. So the babies would have been awake. So that's why I said the 4-year-old, I would assume, could get out and get to their room.
I don't think that they saw what happened, or at least I want to believe that
stayed in their
with my
room
heart.
and cried.
So.
Yeah. or the aftermath. How has the communication been with the police? Have they been updating you? Are they helpful? Are you as in the dark as everyone else?
Yeah, Moody, I think this is going to be a
Personally,
shocker.
I have not been communicating with police, but somebody from the family, is kind of on that role. I just think, we understand that it's a process, and these things they take time. There's a lot of pressure, obviously, but they want to get it done right. And we're grateful for them for the work that they do. It's not easy, and it's sometimes, scrutinized very heavily, but we trust their process that they're going to get this right.
Tina.
I just wanted to tell our audience, Rob, that we were just looking at wedding video, and as I understand it, this was video that you, as a filmmaker, shot and produced. I mean, it's beautiful, and it's just so hard.
He's a filmmaker. Did he get custody of the kids?
To believe that we're having this conversation, seeing the stunning work that you put together for this beautiful day of theirs. I know I speak for my audience as well when I say I hope that you can get some resolution and some justice in this, and I hope we can stay in touch on this.
There's definitely some motive somewhere in this. I mean, and I would hope that the police are able to find something somewhere. Like I said, somebody's getting a pay somewhere, in my opinion. If they didn't rob anything and it wasn't a robbery, like that, there's no forced entry. It wasn't a robbery. Obviously, there's no weapon there, so it can't be that they did it to each other. So yeah, I mean, I think that story is going to be one where, like I said, a shocker, like, oh hell, what? Like, I didn't expect that shit. Sorry, I'm just trying to load the next video up. Oh, here it is. Okay. So I have an update just for the last few minutes of this episode. I have an update if you guys remember the Carnival Cruise, the teen, 18-year-old who was found stuffed under the mattress, and the only other person in the room was the stepson or the step brother. So there's text messages that allegedly have come out now.
November 7th. Per a separate death certificate that ABC News has, they say they obtained one from a family member that lists the date of injury as November 6th. Now again, investigators have not provided the public with a timeline of Anna Kepner's death, but a lot of information has come from the family through media interviews and as well as through this custody situation involving her stepmom that we'll talk about here in just a moment. Now, one of the people aboard that cruise ship with Anna Kepner and the rest of the family was her stepbrother. He's 16 years old. He is the son of her stepmom, Chantel. Now, it was said in Chantel's custody case that the 16-year-old is a suspect in Anna's death. And beyond that, Anna's grandparents told ABC News that he was the only other person seen going into the stateroom with Anna the night that she died. Now, what Anna's relationship was really like with her stepbrother, that does seem to be up for debate because you have friends, in fact, you actually have a boyfriend, his family, ex-boyfriend, who have said that Anna did not have a good relationship with her stepbrother. They went on Inside Edition and they said that the stepbrother was obsessed with Anna and not in a good way. And she was not a fan of it. Quote, she was scared of him because he always carried around a big knife. This is according to the ex-boyfriend's dad, who also said that his son once witnessed
check your messages.
Go into Kepner's room during a FaceTime call, quote, when she was sleeping and get on top of her. He's like infatuated, attracted to her like crazy. He always wanted to date her, that dad said to Inside Edition. The ex-boyfriend also told Inside Edition that Anna was so afraid of her stepbrother that she actually slept over at friends' houses just to get away from him. You have that narrative. It paints a very complicated, concerned.
So if she was that scared of her stepbrother, where was her protection? Where was her father saying, because she stayed in a room on the cruise ship with her brother and her stepbrother and her. Why would they put her in a damn stateroom? They said the night before they found the body that she had left dinner because she wasn't feeling well. So it sounds like while everybody else was having fun that night in the casino and getting food and unlimited ice cream, she went back because she didn't feel well. And I would assume that's when the stepbrother went back. That's sad to be scared to death of your stepbrother and then have to go on vacation with him and sleep in the same room. You know how tiny those little cabins are?
Burning picture of a stepbrother stepsister relationship, but that narrative
Yeah,
is
they
very
shared
different
rooms.
from how her grandparents are characterizing her relationship with her stepbrother, because they told ABC News that Anna and her stepbrother had a real brother-sister type relationship, and they were actually like, quote, two peas in a pod. On this cruise, Anna was reportedly sharing a room with that stepbrother. According to what Anna's ex-boyfriend told Inside Edition, Anna's biological brother, who was also on the cruise, he actually tried to get into the stateroom, but he was locked out. And Anna and the stepbrother were inside the stateroom. This is, again, all Inside Edition, saying that the biological brother said he heard yelling in the stateroom and the stepbrother saying something along the lines of, quote, shut the hell up. And he could hear some banging around in the stateroom the night that Anna died. Now, the grandparents told ABC News that investigators say the only person who was seen going into that stateroom with Anna before she was found dead was her 16-year-old stepbrother. Anna's grandparents say that everyone was questioned about Anna after her body was found. The stepson reportedly says he does not remember details about the alleged incident. And I'll have much more on that in a moment when we talk about these text messages. According to ABC, the 16-year-old said, quote, in his own words, says he does not remember what happened. That is according to the grandparents. On top of that, Anna's grandma says in her interview with ABC News that she believes the boy, that he doesn't remember what happened. She also says the boy was hospitalized for a psychiatric evaluation once the ship returned to port. Now, let's talk about this custody hearing, this custody case that has been playing out in the public.
When this all first happened and they were talking about how in court documents, the stepmother didn't want to testify at this trial, didn't want the stepbrother to have to testify at this murder trial. And I'm like, how the hell, when there's not been any charges filed, is she putting in documents to a judge? Come to find out, she's putting in these documents in her custody case. What? That shit blows my mind.
After the death of Anna Kepner, because that's where we are getting a lot of our information through official channels. And again, it involves Anna Kepner's stepmom, Chantel, formerly Chantel Hudson, and Thomas Hudson, who is her ex-husband. And not only are we learning about the stepson, the stepbrother, the potential suspect in this case, we are now learning a little bit more about what charges could look like. After court filings surfaced indicating that Anna's 16-year-old stepbrother was a suspect in her death, her stepmom's ex-husband, Thomas, took emergency action. He filed a motion claiming that with a homicide suspect recently living in the home, that their daughter, the one that he shares with Chantel, was now in immediate danger. And he asked a judge to remove his daughter immediately. Now, in their most recent hearing, which happened on December 17th, the two sides broke down decisions that were made on the cruise. Here's Thomas Hudson's attorney, who laid out his core concerns about the cruise right in his opening statement.
Okay,
listen to how he framed it for the judge.
Your Honor, in this case, obviously, it's our position that the youngest child is at risk for a number of reasons. As the court is aware through the pleadings, there's a young lady who's passed away. That matter is still under investigation. That was not my client's child, but the stepchild of the mother in this case, and the remaining 16-year-old is now a suspect in that in that case. In this case, the mother took the children, both on a cruise against my client's wishes, while preventing him from having regular contact with those children. We believe that the arrangements that were made by the mother as far as the sleeping arrangements were insufficient, that the 18-year-old, the 16-year-old, and another 14-year-old were all placed in the same stateroom. There's indications that they may have, because they were in international waters, may have been engaging in activities that they normally couldn't engage in while they were in the United States properly being.
Like drinking maybe or something. So was it like a drunken thing?
Supervised.
Now, the attorney for Anna's stepmom, Chantel, had a very different view of the situation in that home after Anna's death. Her core argument was simple, that the person at the center of the FBI's investigation, her own 16-year-old son, Anna's stepbrother, the suspect in Anna's case, was living elsewhere.
We believe, and I think we filed that in our response, that there's no emergency that exists. There was an incident on the cruise ship. The Federal Bureau of Investigations is investigating that. There have been no arrests made yet, but since my clients were advised that the was a suspect in that, after he was released from the hospital upon the return to the United States, he was placed with a relative of the mother's. And not only did that happen, but mom contacted dad, and dad signed an agreement to say that this child would be placed with a third party, thereby removing any risk of any danger to any of the other children in the home. So that has been resolved.
And in a later statement, her attorney revealed something pretty significant. Anna Kepner's stepbrother could potentially face charges.
Well,
now, this was the first time that we heard in court that criminal charges for Anna's death are being actively considered, because the FBI really hasn't said anything publicly.
How long is Timothy expected to remain with the relative?
At this point, we're not sure. We're not sure what the FBI is going to do, whether he's going to be charged federally or whether they're going to turn it over to the state.
Now, with that potential prosecution hanging in the air, the stepmom was called to the stand and forced to answer for the exact environment and decisions that the FBI is now investigating. The questioning went straight to the cruise and the choices made there.
Did you recently go on a cruise?
Yes.
And did any of the children go with you on the cruise? Did you reach out to Mr. Hudson to request that he agree to passports for the children?
I reached out to him to inform him of my itinerary to take the children on a cruise, and did ask for the passports, but they weren't needed in this cruise.
And Mr. Hudson actually refused to cooperate with obtaining passports, correct?
To sign for the passports, yes.
You said passports weren't necessary, so they weren't obtained?
Correct.
As far as the minor children, what were the sleeping arrangements on this cruise?
Was in my room with my husband and his 9-year-old daughter, and then shared a room with his stepsister and stepbrother. The room was directly across from ours.
Hey.
What was the stepsister's name?
Anna Kepner.
And what was the stepbrother's name? And how old is
14.
14.
And how old was Anna?
18.
That's crazy.
Now, who made the decision to have these 3 teenagers?
Clearly, the mother, in my opinion, a mother knows their children. And I feel like she's taking these steps for him not to have to testify and do all these things. I think she knows in her heart whether he did it or not.
In one room in the cruise.
We had talked it over with our travel agent, and that was what was suggested.
Did you have to sign any special permission for the children to reside together? So was it a mutual decision between yourself and your husband?
Correct.
Exactly, true crime, and she knows it.
And at some point, did you discover that one of the children had passed away?
Yes.
And when was that you discovered that?
Friday morning.
Right. That's what I'm saying, madam. Like, come on.
When was the last time that you had seen the child before that Friday morning?
Thursday night.
You know approximately what time?
Right around 6:30.
And your child, did you see him that Thursday night as well?
Yes.
What time did you see him at?
Closer to 7. Just a little bit before 7.
And what was he doing at that time?
He was headed back to his room.
Do you know whether or not was present in the room as well?
They all were headed back to their room, as far as I know.
So where was their room in relation to your room?
Right across the hall. You walked out my door, their door was right in front of it.
That's awful.
Did you return to your room that evening?
Yes.
What time did you return to your room?
7 o'clock.
No emotion
7 p.m.
at all. Right,
Yeah, right. It was actually closer to 7:30.
Did you stay in the room for the rest of the night?
Yes.
Especially since clearly they were already going through a custody case because, again, she was already submitting documents days after getting off the boat. So it's not like they weren't already going through this.
With the teenagers across the hall, did you ever go in and check on them?
No, I had went to sleep.
Do you know if Christopher went across the hall to check on them?
Not that I know of.
Do you know if left the room that night on that Thursday night?
I never seen him leave the room.
The attorney then pivoted to questions about the environment on the ship, probing what activities the teenagers might have had access to, specifically alcohol and gambling. She says the underage children didn't drink because they're not old enough, but when pressed specifically about the 18-year-old, Anna Kepner, her answer was a firm, I don't know, which leaves a question about what supervision or awareness there was of Anna on this cruise, an adult who was sharing a room with 2 minors, including the reported suspect in her death. Listen to this.
Had you drank it all during the cruise?
I had 2 pina coladas and a blue Hawaiian earlier in the week, but it wasn't on the same day. It was like 1 a day.
Do you know if the children, based on being in international waters, could drink alcohol?
No.
You don't know?
No, they didn't. They're not old enough.
What about Anna?
I don't know.
Weren't you aware that the children were gambling at some point?
Well, Anna's 18, so I know she was in there at one point in time, but the other kids were not.
Are some of the
Imagine being able to build.
I keep forgetting to switch my account back. My bad.
Idea.
The text messages.
Let's look at
these are from November 8th, and this is related to Thomas, the ex-husband, wanting to take their shared daughter as the investigation was just beginning. So here's a text from Chantel, quote, I really do appreciate it, and I'm not trying to be in any which way. I just think it'll be more traumatizing for her to be removed as of right now. She doesn't know anything about the stepbrother. The only thing I told her is that he was having a hard time coping with losing Anna, so he's getting checked out by the hospital. And Thomas responds, okay, well, I'm not trying to push it, but the offer is there if when you find more out and have to handle things. Then Chantel says, when we have to cross that bridge, you and I will come up with a way to tell her and Andrew. Now, Thomas says okay to that. Chantel says, I will call you tomorrow as soon as I hear anything, and Thomas says okay. So they continue talking the next day, November 9th. This is after Anna's body has been taken off of the cruise ship. The ship arrived back in Miami on the 8th, and we're talking 2 days now after Anna's body was found. And here's what Chantel's ex-husband starts to say about the suspect in the case, Anna's stepbrother. Thomas says, quote, are you able to talk or see the stepbrother? We are not going to put his name out there because he hasn't been charged and he is a minor. Now, Chantel says, I'm waiting on the FBI and also the doctor to call me as soon as I know something. I promise you that I won't. I will call you. Chantel then says something like, quote, stupid talk to text. Chantel says, I promise you as soon as I get a call, but you are going to be the first person I called. Chantel then says, as soon as I know anything, you will be the only one I will be calling. Thomas says, I get that, but I mean, have you talked to the stepbrother while he's at the facility? Chantel says, I was able to talk to him last night for under 2 minutes briefly. He just keeps repeating over and over he can't remember anything. Chantel says, I don't even know if they were allowed to let me talk to him or not. The nurse was very nice and let me talk to him just to tell him that you and I love him. Thomas says, quote, I just want him to know that he isn't just dead to everyone. Regardless of everything at the moment, he needs his parents. I know you know that. I just would like to have a chance to talk to him as soon as possible. Chantel says, we, Chris, who is Anna's biological dad, and his parents told him yesterday before they took him, we told him no matter what, you and us are with him. He isn't alone. Then Thomas says, okay, I know everything is supposed to be hush hush for now, but I've seen that it is still getting out with posts and comments between Facebook, TikTok, and stuff. I just want to make sure until things are certain that he doesn't get any unnecessary comments towards him. And Chantel says, nobody knows anything about him. He is a minor and has been kept completely out of it. We have not said anything to anybody, and we are going to try our best to keep it completely out. He is a minor, so his name shouldn't be anywhere. And when we talk to the FBI again, we will reiterate that we do not want his name out there. And everything that's been posted on TikTok and social media, nobody knows anything, and everybody's just speculating. We know what I told you last night, and we'll know exactly more when the autopsy is done. Once we get the autopsy today, depending on what it says, depend on whether he's booked on these charges, end quote. So clearly the family there, perhaps not surprisingly, expecting charges in this case, and we're still waiting to hear from the FBI if and when that happens. Now, as far as where the boy has been since the cruise, the Daily Mail claims they found him at a family home in rural Florida, and he was actually selling firewood on the side of the road.
Oh my
God. A reporter
God.
apparently approached him and asked him about the death of Anna Kepner, and the 16-year-old boy reportedly said, quote, I'd rather not talk. He then appeared to lower his hat over his face and walked away. Now, even though Chantel seems to think that her son's name would not be put out into the public, you search social media and it certainly has been put out in the public, but we here at Law and Crime, we're not naming him because at 16 years old, he is a minor. Now, if he is charged and if he is tried as an adult, all of that could change. We'll continue to follow this story closely, but that will do it for this episode of On the Case, presented by...
So there is the sad update in that case. To me, it sounds like they have known this whole time, like they knew from the jump that it was him. I mean, those text messages, I mean, it's not like they weren't like, oh my God, can you believe what happened? What the fuck? Like, I would be tripping out. Like, I'd be like, what the fuck happened? The only people that were in there were, my son and, our son and, your daughter and her brother. Like, what the hell did they do? What happened? Like, and immediately they put him in a psych hospital. Obviously, he admitted that something happened, that he blacked out and doesn't remember. And so, sad update. Very sad update. But I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of True Crime Tuesday with me, your host, Feminine and Fierce. I will see you guys back here on Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern for another episode. If you hang out for the malarkey, I will be back shortly. The live is already up. The warning that I'm coming back has already been posted. I may go a little bit earlier than what it says. I think it says 10:50. Of course, I do that. That way you'll get that 30-minute notice like, hey, going live in 30 minutes, and you can hit notify me on that live. But it'll be probably like 10:45, I'd say. So maybe only like 5 minutes early. But I will see you guys soon. And if you don't follow the malarkey, then I'll see you Thursday. You guys have a great night. Bye. Thank y'all for coming.